Previously, Gu Shu gave his life in battle. Fang Zheng found a new resolve, and Bai Ningbing survived with an even deeper obsession toward Fang Yuan. Now the wolf tide grows more violent, pushing every clan toward collapse. While others fight for survival, Fang Yuan strengthens his cultivation, raises the price of vitality leaves, and prepares to break through to rank 3. But his growing influence draws the attention of Yue Yao Ji, who moves to seize his 9-leaf vitality grass. As thousands of lightning wolves surround Gu Yue village and the eastern gate falls into chaos, Fang Yuan quietly guides Yao Le away from danger, toward a fate only he understands. Let's continue with Reverend Insanity, Episode 17. As one of the people directly involved, Fang Yuan was naturally questioned by the clan. The investigation, however, was far from thorough. Nearly all of the clan's attention was fixed on the wolf tide, which was growing more severe by the day. Fang Yuan's earth communication ear grass and hidden scale goo remained concealed. Even if either one had been exposed, he could simply have blamed the caravan. With the wolf tide raging, all routes had been cut off. No caravan would be coming to King Mao Mountain. Under those circumstances, the clan had no way to verify his story, and the investigation could only drag on. By the time they were finally able to uncover the truth, Fang Yuan would have long since reached rank 3 and left Qing Mao Mountain behind. Of course, it would be an entirely different matter if the 4 flavors liquor worm or the spring-autumn cicada were discovered. Either revelation would shake the entire village. The 4 flavors liquor worm represented a completely new refinement recipe. Its significance was enormous. Even if Fang Yuan claimed that he had bought it from a caravan, that excuse would never hold. The clan would investigate him from head to toe, and if the spring-autumn cicada were exposed, the wolf tide itself would immediately become irrelevant. This was a rank 6 goo worm. The moment Gu Yue saw it, he would tear away every pretense without hesitation. Blood ties, clan dignity, the responsibilities of a clan leader, none of it would matter. He would seize the goo first and ask questions later. July arrived beneath a blazing summer sun. The air felt like fire, and the stench of blood hung everywhere. The wolf tide grew more violent with each passing day. The battles became fiercer as well. Many people were beginning to realize that this year's wolf tide was one of the largest seen in recorded history. Bold lightning wolf packs had already been reduced to supporting forces. Packs of more than 1,000 frenzy lightning wolves appeared everywhere around the villages. The territory available to humanity had been compressed to almost nothing. Even the Gu Yue clan's main village was under immense pressure. The settlements at the foot of the mountain were in an even worse state. 9 houses out of 10 now stood empty. A fortunate minority of villagers had managed to use family ties and personal connections to gain shelter inside the mountain village. Most were not so lucky. Forced to abandon their homes, they crossed mountains and valleys in desperate attempts to reach one of the fortified villages. Their destination might have offered safety, but the journey itself offered almost none. Wild beasts, feral goo worms, and lightning wolves roamed the mountain in every direction. For ordinary mortals, the chances of reaching shelter were painfully small. It was a journey built on despair. The Gu Yue clan had already abandoned these mortals. Nearly all of them died along the way, devoured by wild beasts or killed by swarms of feral goo worms. Mortals and goo masters alike struggled between life and death. Even clan elders who had once held lofty positions could no longer remain behind the lines. They donned armor and entered battle in person. Retired goo masters were conscripted again. By the time the wolf tide ended, fewer than 1 in 10 of them would still be alive. At moments like this, the cruelty of nature revealed itself without disguise. The strong devoured the weak. The great fish swallowed the small. No amount of gentle language could make that truth disappear. Fang Yuan sat cross-legged on his bed, eyes closed, his consciousness immersed in his aperture. Inside, a sea of red steel primeval essence filled 44% of the space. Waves rose and fell across its surface. Every drop was a red so dark it was almost black. The primeval essence of a rank 2 peak stage goo master. All rank 2 primeval essence was collectively known as red steel primeval essence, but its shade changed with each minor stage. At the initial stage, it was pale red. At the middle stage, bright red. At the upper stage, deep crimson. Only at the peak stage did it become this dark, near black red. Many days earlier, Fang Yuan had advanced from middle stage to upper stage. His primeval essence had originally been deep crimson, but after being refined by the 4 flavors liquor worm and replenished with primeval stones, every last drop had transformed into peak stage dark red primeval essence. The walls of his aperture were no longer a flowing water membrane rippling with white light. They had become a thick stone membrane, layered with pale halos. The white jade goo and hidden scale goo rested beneath the red steel sea. The 4 flavors liquor worm played happily in the water. But the moment the spring-autumn cicada slowly emerged, it vanished with a splash and dove straight to the bottom. The aura of the spring-autumn cicada pressed down on the entire sea. The waves went still, and its surface became smooth as a mirror. The spring-autumn cicada's condition continued to improve. Both wings had fully recovered. They resembled two tender, pale green leaves, though its body was still thin and withered. Fang Yuan inspected it at regular intervals. By now, he could clearly sense that its recovery was accelerating. In the beginning, the spring-autumn cicada had been like a dying patient who could barely breathe, too weak even to open his mouth and capable of surviving only on thin broth. Now that patient could climb out of bed and eat great mouthfuls of solid food. Naturally, his recovery would only become faster. Apart from the spring-autumn cicada, Fang Yuan's aperture now held two new residents. Both had come from Bai Ningbing. One was the water shield Gu, floating in the primeval sea like a jellyfish. The other was the red steel relic Gu. Fang Yuan's advancement from middle stage to upper stage had come from the accumulation built by nourishing his aperture, combined with the four flavors liquor worm refining his primeval essence. He had not yet used the red steel relic Gu. In cultivation alone, Fang Yuan now ranked third among all rank 2 Gu masters of the Gu Yue clan. Zhongli and King Shu were dead. Across the whole of King Mao Mountain, Fang Yuan could be counted among the top 5 rank 2 Gu masters. Qishan and Mo Yan had both been upper stage before, but not long ago each had broken through to peak stage. Their advancements had done much to revive clan morale after Qing Shu's death. Fang Yuan was improving, but so was everyone else. Qishan and Mo Yan had remained at upper stage for quite some time. King Shu's peak stage cultivation had always stood above them like a mountain. The threat of death, brought by the wolf tide, had only intensified every Gu master's hunger for strength. Under that pressure, they squeezed out whatever potential they possessed, and their cultivation rose accordingly. But in terms of actual combat strength, I should stand above every rank 2 Gu master on King Mao Mountain. Once I use the red steel relic Gu and advance to peak stage, my experience will even allow me to contend with a rank 3 Gu master to a certain degree. Fang Yuan calculated. The restraint and low profile he had maintained in the past were finally bearing fruit. For a C-grade talent to advance this quickly would shock the clan if the full truth became known. Even Fang Zheng, with his A-grade aptitude, had only reached rank 2 middle stage. Of course, reaching peak stage would not suddenly make Fang Yuan capable of defeating an ordinary rank 3 Gu master. Bai Ningbing had been able to cross ranks and kill rank 3 Gu masters because he possessed the northern dark ice soul physique. Gu Yue Qingshu had achieved something similar only because of the wood charm Gu, a powerful and highly unusual rank 3 Gu worm. Strictly speaking, Fang Yuan possessed an even greater trump card than either of them, the spring-autumn cicada. But this rank 6 Gu was unique. Unless driven into absolute desperation, Fang Yuan would never use it. The spring-autumn cicada had not yet fully recovered. If he forced it to activate now, whether he could successfully rebirth at all was a question with no certain answer. The red steel relic Gu, however, was useful only to rank 2 Gu masters. Just as Fang Yuan was about to activate it, someone knocked at the door. Knock. 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 Lord Fang Yuan, it's me, Gu Yue Xianxia. A voice called from outside. Fang Yuan frowned. Xianxia had grown increasingly presumptuous lately, visiting again and again in hopes of purchasing more vitality leaves. With casualties and crippling injuries rising by the day, the price of vitality leaves had climbed sharply. There was not even enough supply to satisfy demand. How many times must I tell you? I have no spare vitality leaves. Get lost. Fang Yuan's voice was cold. He would not sacrifice cultivation time for a little extra profit. Outside the door, Xianxia laughed nervously. Lord Fang Yuan, please don't be angry. You know what the situation is like. I truly have no choice. More and more Gu masters know that I sell vitality leaves, and they all come looking for me. Life isn't easy for this humble one either. How about this? I'll raise my buying price by another 10%. Lord Fang Yuan, please show mercy and give me 10 vitality leaves to help me through this. By the end, his voice had become pleading, almost tearful. Fang Yuan remained unmoved. That is your problem. What does it have to do with me? You have become bolder and bolder. Have you forgotten the agreement between us? You even dared to bring someone else here without permission. Ah, Xianxia forced a bitter smile. He glanced at the elderly Gu master standing beside him. Xianxia had not wanted to bring him, but the old man had been too forceful. He had insisted on coming. Young friend Fang Yuan, the elder said, I am Gu Yue. I believe you have heard of me. I came to purchase a few vitality leaves. I hope you can spare this old man some face, set aside a little time, and produce a few for me. Fang Yuan gave a mocking laugh. And what face do you have? Gu Yue did have some reputation in the clan. He had retired years ago, only to be recalled into service because of the wolf tide. At his prime, he had reached rank 3. An injury had later caused his cultivation to fall to rank 2 peak stage. Now, weakened by age, he had slipped again to rank 2 upper stage. Though his cultivation was nominally equal to Fang Yuan's, his combat ability was no longer worth considering. Gu Yue's face turned green. He had long heard that Fang Yuan was solitary, arrogant, ill-tempered, and openly disrespectful. Before coming, he had prepared himself mentally. Even so, he had still underestimated the young man. He had intended to rely on seniority. That tactic usually worked, but it was useless against Fang Yuan. Heat rushed into his face. Shame and humiliation filled him. The last scraps of dignity he had brought with him were gone. "You insolent little dog who does not know how to respect his elders," he cursed inwardly. Yet he did not leave. He needed vitality leaves. Gu Yue had lived long enough to understand their value. Sometimes, a single leaf could buy a man another life. The older a person became, the more carefully he guarded his own existence. In his youth, a few stirring words could make his blood boil. He had dreamed of protecting his clansmen, changing the world, and becoming a great hero of the clan. Back then, he had believed himself fearless before death. Now he was old. He had sobered with age and seen through many things. After several of his children died, his heart had grown even colder. Every organization required sacrifice. Resources were limited. New resources appeared constantly, but they were also consumed without pause. No matter how much flowed in and out, the total supply remained finite. To survive, people needed food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. Those were resources. To cultivate, Gu masters needed Gu worms, primeval stones, and food for their Gu. Those were resources as well. The weak could become strong only by consuming more resources. But if no one was sacrificed, where would those resources come from? Better for a fellow cultivator to die than for this poor Taoist. Protection, glory, family, dreams, passion. Each was merely a noble-sounding justification for sacrifice. There was no organization that did not encourage its members to offer themselves. The upper ranks simply never said so plainly. Instead, they praised protection, honor, family, dreams, passion, and happiness, then offered rewards to those willing to obey. But once a man was dead, what use were rewards? What could a dead great hero still enjoy? Look at Gu Yue Qingshu. He had died happily, been buried in the earth, and had his name carved into a gravestone. His spirit would now be used to inspire the next generation of heroes. Standing beside the old man, Xianxia looked at Gu Yue's darkened expression and felt secretly delighted. The elder had forced Xianxia to lead him here. Xianxia was only a rank 1 Gu master and a junior besides. His status had always been lower than Gu Yue's, so he had been unable to refuse. Now that the old man had lost so much face, Xianxia could not help admiring Fang Yuan's carefree ruthlessness. Gu Yue badly wanted to slap Fang Yuan several times and teach this arrogant junior a lesson. But for the sake of the vitality leaves, he could only swallow his anger. "Young friend Fang Yuan, you should not speak that way," he said through clenched restraint. "You are still young and do not understand the importance of personal connections. There will always come a day when you need someone else's help. Imagine that you had come to ask a favor of me, and I treated you as you are treating me now. How would you feel? Personal connections. What a load of dog shit!" Fang Yuan mocked inwardly. So-called unity existed only because people were weak. On Earth, networks and relationships were indeed important. Human beings did not differ greatly in individual strength. But this world allowed people to cultivate. At its foundation, everything was different. Connections were merely an accessory to strength. Once a person became powerful enough, connections would crawl toward him on their own. Anyone who spent his life chasing relationships was someone who expected to beg favors from others. In truth, if one possessed overwhelming strength, even connections were unnecessary. Whatever one wanted could simply be taken. If others refused, they could be robbed or killed. What need was there for a web of favors? Naturally, Fang Yuan had no intention of preaching such demonic ideas aloud. Still, since they had already disturbed him, he did not mind making a transaction. "I can sell to you," he said. 68 primeval stones for 1 vitality leaf. How many do you want?" "What?" Gu Yue exclaimed from outside the door. "Young friend Fang Yuan, that price is far too high." Fang Yuan gave a cold snort. "If you find it expensive, do not buy. The clan also offers vitality leaves among its supplies. You can exchange battle merits for them." Gu Yue laughed bitterly. "How could I not know that? But those vitality leaves are always sold to households with connections. Medicine Hall elder Yue Yao Ji controls everything with one hand. How could I possibly obtain any? Young friend Fang Yuan, please do this old man a favor. I will repay you in the future. In my view, 60 primeval stones is already a fair price. I have no interest in future repayment. You have wasted enough of my time. 70 primeval stones. Buy them or leave." Gu Yue stamped his foot in fury. "Young friend Fang Yuan, who conducts business like this?" Fang Yuan laughed. "Circumstances change. The price is now 72 primeval stones. Every sentence you speak wastes more of my time. When I become irritated, the price rises again. Decide for yourself." Gu Yue's face twisted with rage. His mouth opened several times, but no words came out. His old face shifted from green to red and back again. Xianxia watched from the side, suppressing a smile. At last, Gu Yue ground his teeth. Fine. I will buy them. I want 5 vitality leaves. Give the primeval stones to Xianxia now. Collect the leaves from him in 3 days. Even this was unreasonable. Fair trade meant exchanging money and goods at the same time, yet Gu Yue still paid. He handed several heavy bags of primeval stones to Xianxia on the spot. His hands trembled faintly. These were the meager savings he had accumulated by denying himself comfort for years. Now they were being stripped away by a shameless profiteer. In the end, he left the bamboo building with resentment burning in his chest. Lord Fang Yuan, that was truly satisfying, Xianxia said carefully. But I am afraid you have offended Gu Yue. When that old man was younger, he was known for repaying every grievance. He may not let this go. Let him do as he pleases. Old men who rely on their age will eventually be discarded by the clan anyway. Fang Yuan opened the door. Xianxia hurriedly offered him the bags of primeval stones. The clan was consuming enormous quantities of resources to resist the wolf tide. Once supplies became scarce, a vast organization could no longer preserve everyone. It would inevitably begin cutting away expendable members. These old men consumed precious resources merely by remaining alive. They would be eliminated. Wolf packs cast out the old and weak directly. Human society did not behave so openly. Evil deeds still had to be wrapped in respectable clothing. Thus the clan recalled retired Gu masters, sending them to the battlefield in the name of protecting their home. Even if Gu Yue understood this game, what could he do? Once a person lived within a system, he no longer possessed complete control over himself. The clan invoked righteousness and duty, conscripting these elders and ordering them to sacrifice themselves. Who dared refuse? On Earth there had been a saying, if the ruler wanted his minister dead, the minister had no choice but to die. They could not even control their own lives, yet countless people still fought to become those ministers. That was both the cruelty and the allure of systems. How many recalled Gu masters survived the wolf tides of the past? Fang Yuan said coldly, forget 5 vitality leaves. Even 50 might not keep Gu Yue alive. Xianxia heard the indifference in his voice and felt a chill spread through his heart. There was something glacial about Fang Yuan, like a northern wind howling through winter. The pressure made Xianxia afraid even to raise his head. Fang Yuan looked at him with deep black eyes. From now on, you are not to visit me outside the agreed times. If you break this rule, bear the consequences yourself. I allow you to sell my vitality leaves only out of consideration for your elder brother. But favor can be given, and it can also be withdrawn. Conduct yourself properly. Xianxia did not dare answer. Remembering Gu Yue's miserable humiliation, cold sweat appeared on his forehead. One more thing, Fang Yuan continued. From now on, sell each vitality leaf for 70 primeval stones. 70? Xianxia swallowed hard in shock, his eyes shone as if he could already see streams of primeval stones rolling toward him. Yet fear remained. He spoke with great care. Lord Fang Yuan, if we raise the price so openly, will people accuse us of profiting from the war? They may say we are taking advantage of the disaster. It could anger many people. Anger many people? Fang Yuan snorted. So what? Do as I tell you and stop talking nonsense. Anyone who wants trouble can be informed that these are my vitality leaves. Yes, yes, of course. Xianxia nodded repeatedly. Fang Yuan's answer was exactly what he had hoped for. He had already intended to push every problem onto Fang Yuan. He was only a minor rank 1 Gu master. He could not afford to offend too many people. Small characters possess the survival wisdom of small characters. Fang Yuan understood Xianxia's petty cleverness perfectly well. But since it did not interfere with his interests, he could tolerate it. Different cultivation and different circumstances required different ways of living. Once Fang Yuan used the red steel relic Gu, he would reach rank 2 peak stage and stand at the threshold of rank 3. That was enough to count as the beginning of true growth. Before this, he had needed to remain restrained. Now he needed to become forceful. Only by displaying strength could he harvest the greatest benefits. As for Xianxia, the man still had value. A little opportunistic cunning did not harm Fang Yuan's interests and could therefore be forgiven. Even revealing a few unimportant trump cards no longer mattered greatly. During peaceful times, idle clan leaders might have created problems for him. But the wolf tide now consumed everyone's attention. Who had the leisure to investigate minor irregularities? And once the wolf tide ended, whether Gu Yue village would still exist at all remained uncertain. More than half a month later, lightning wolves poured across the mountain like a rising tide, and the Gu masters fled before them. Xiangyuan Zhen, hold on. Gu Yue village is not far now. Xiongjiao Man looked down at the clansman lying on the ground, her eyes red as she shouted, Big sister, I can't make it. There is something I have always wanted to tell you. Xiangyuan Zhen was barely alive. His injuries were severe, and the shadow of death already covered his face. Xiongjiao Man's voice broke beneath her sobs. She knew. Though Fang Yuan had always been quiet and reserved, he had secretly loved her for years. She knew what he wanted to say now, his mouth opened. But in the end, he never managed to speak the words, "I love you." He died from blood loss, his wounds too grave to heal. Lightning wolf bites covered his body. The most terrifying wound crossed his chest from his right shoulder to his navel, left by a bold lightning wolf. "Big sister, this is bad. Another bold lightning wolf pack is coming," the scouting Gu master shouted, terror filling his voice. Xianxia man stopped crying at once and released Fang Yuan's body. She was the team leader. The living still needed her. The dead were already dead. Those who remained had to face the cruelty of the world. "Damn wolf cubs! One pack after another and they never stop coming!" Xianxia man cursed savagely. She had a voluptuous figure and a beautiful face. Crude words coming from her carried a strange charm of their own. Hearing her curse, the others calmed down without realizing it. Still swearing, Xianxia man surveyed the surroundings. What she saw left her dispirited. She could wipe out one bold lightning wolf pack directly. Against two, she could carve open a path through blood, but there were 4 packs now. The wisest choice was to retreat into the narrow ravine behind them, use a signal Gu, and wait for nearby teams to gather. "Fall back into the ravine!" Xianxia man shouted. At the same time, she ordered the 2 large bears behind the group to cover their retreat. Both had been raised until they were large and powerful. One was brown, the other black. Their coats remained smooth and glossy, despite the wounds covering their bodies. By the time Xianxia man's group of 7 successfully withdrew into the ravine, only 1 bear remained. The black bear had killed more than a dozen lightning wolves before exhaustion finally overcame it. The pack swallowed it beneath a mass of fangs and claws. A goo worm flew from the bear's corpse like a streak of light and returned instantly to Xianxia man's hand. It was the bear enslavement goo. Once planted in a bear, it allowed a goo master to control the beast. Naturally, it could enslave only ordinary wild bears. The bear enslavement Gu was merely rank 2 and could not control a bear king. If a Gu master could enslave a bear king, the ability would be far too powerful. Even the weakest 100 beast king commanded more than 100 bears. To enslave the beast king was to command the entire group beneath it. Now we can only wait for reinforcements. I hope they arrive quickly. Xianxia man drew several deep breaths and sighed. Inside the ravine, the area they needed to defend was much smaller, and the pressure from the wolf packs fell sharply. But they had also lost their route of escape. The blood and prolonged fighting would attract still more wolves. Their danger had not truly passed. "Hey!" A voice suddenly came from the sheer cliff above their heads. Everyone looked up in alarm and saw a young man standing at the top. "It's him? Gu Yue Fang Yuan." The 7 Sheng clan Gu masters were delighted at first. Then complicated expressions appeared on their faces. After Bai Ningbing's fierce battle with King Shu, Fang Yuan, the man who had chased Bai Ningbing across the mountain, had become famous. Everyone knew his name. Over the past several days, Fang Yuan had also displayed his strength throughout the wolf tide. He often hunted lightning wolves alone, and his achievements left others astonished. He had become one of the mountain's rising figures. Had his personality not been so eccentric and his reputation so poor, his standing might already have rivaled Qi Shan and Mo Yan. But to the people of Shong village, Fang Yuan was also the murderer of Shong Jiang. That was why Xianxia man and the others looked at him with such mixed emotions. Fang Yuan gazed down from above and casually swung the vine rope in his hand. "You can continue waiting for reinforcements," he said. "Or you can borrow this vine and climb up." Who knew when reinforcements would arrive? Nothing on a battlefield was ever certain. Naturally, Xianxia man's group preferred the rope in front of them. But Fang Yuan demanded payment. The Shong clan Gu masters erupted in fury. "Fang Yuan, we are allies. How can you behave like this? You even want the bear enslavement Gu? You truly dare ask for anything." Fang Yuan remained calm. "1 bear enslavement Gu and 700 primeval stones in exchange for 7 lives. That is very cheap. You may refuse. I will return to the clan and report your position. As for when the reinforcements arrive, or whether wolf packs intercept them along the way, I cannot guarantee anything." Everyone fell silent. Their expressions were ugly. "Fine, I agree." Xianxia man finally surrendered for the sake of the group. "Fang Yuan, your reputation is well deserved." Her words dripped with sarcasm. Fang Yuan merely shrugged. The result was exactly what he had expected. He threw down the vine and laughed coldly in his heart. The 4 bold lightning wolf packs had been led here by him. Originally, he had planned to wait until the group died, then collect their goo worms and earn a large sum of battle merits. But their signal goo had already attracted the attention of several nearby goo master teams, all of whom were rushing over to help. To keep the effort from being wasted, Fang Yuan could only play the role of a rescuer this once. Not long after Xianxia man's group climbed the vine and escaped the surrounding wolves, 3 Gu master teams arrived. One of them was Qi Shan's team. The already pale faces of the 7 Xiong clan Gu masters became even worse. Xiong Zhaoman regretted her decision bitterly. Moments earlier, she had erased her will from the bare enslavement Gu and cooperated with Fang Yuan's refinement. It was too late to change her mind now. Fang Yuan, I will remember this. She glared at him with hatred. Whether you remember it or not is your concern. Fang Yuan smiled faintly, turned and left. Lady Xiang, we meet again. Qishan's team came forward from the other side, his tone extremely courteous. Since the Baining Bing incident, the Gu Yue clan had lost King Shu, and the Xiong clan had lost Xiong Li. Both clans had suffered at Bai Village's hands, and their relationship had grown closer as a result. Politically, Bai Village had become the common enemy of the other 2 clans, despite the alliance still formally remaining in place. This younger sister greets elder brother Qishan. Xiong Zhaoman forced her brows to relax and cupped her fists. I came to request help from the Gu Yue clan. Zhang village has been surrounded by wolf packs for 6 days and 6 nights. The wolf tide had become increasingly severe. Lightning wolf packs now openly surrounded the villages and attacked whenever they wished. Zhang village stood lowest among the 3 settlements, at the very foot of the mountain, so it bore the brunt of the tide. In fact, this was already the 3rd time Zhang village had been surrounded. They required reinforcements to attack from inside and outside together, and drive back the wolf packs. Reinforcements should not be difficult to arrange, Qishan said. Did we not cooperate well the previous 2 times? But this matter must still be reported to the clan leader. Please follow me. Xiang Zhaoman's group followed Qishan's team back to Gu Yue village. Layers of defenses had already been constructed throughout the settlement. The outer walls had been repeatedly reinforced. Dozens of small watchtowers had been built, while trenches and traps had been dug beneath the walls, filled with sharpened green bamboo spears. Iron vine gu and poison flower gu had been planted across the walls. Wherever one looked, sharp thorns spread in dense masses, while hundreds upon hundreds of beautiful flowers waited with closed buds, ready to release poison. After entering the gate, they saw that nearly every nearby structure, homes, taverns, and shops alike, had been requisitioned and converted into temporary fortifications. The 7 Jiang clan Gu masters had traveled all the way from their village and fought through the wolf blockade. Every one of them was injured, so they were led into a bamboo building for treatment. More than 10 healing Gu masters were stationed inside. Most were rank 1, though 2 were rank 2. To Xiong Zhaoman's mild surprise, the person directing the entire hall was neither of the rank 2 healers but a young girl. Place the unconscious one on the vine chair. There is a broken lower leg over here. Gu Yexing, come treat him. Surface wounds. Ah Feng, stop the bleeding. Ah Shu, remove the poison. Little Hua Xian, bring the best splint for this fracture. Then come help with the bandaging. The girl had glossy black hair, a small cherry-red mouth, bright crystal-like eyes, and a face that still carried traces of childish roundness. Her voice was soft and pleasant, yet she handled every matter with remarkable maturity. It was difficult not to see her in a new light. Xiong Zhaoman suddenly thought of someone. Little sister, are you Gu Yue Yaole? Elder sister Zhaoman of the Xiong clan, greetings. I did not expect you to know my name. Only after everything had been arranged did Gu Yue Yaole approach and politely return the greeting. Little sister Yaole is the truly famous one, Xiong Zhaoman said warmly. You inherited Lady Yao Ji's compassionate heart and possess excellent healing skill yourself. Though you are only rank 1, you were still chosen as one of King Mao Mountain's rising stars. Even in Xiong village, many people admire you. Xiong Zhaoman knew the young woman before her had a powerful background. She had come seeking aid from the Gu Yue clan, so naturally she offered nothing but praise. Elder sister Zhaoman, you flatter me. Yaole was still young. The praise brought a blush to her cheeks and she lowered her head shyly. At that moment, one of the Zhong clan Gu masters spoke angrily. Though they are both among the 10 rising stars, that Gu Yue Fang Yuan cannot be compared with this little sister at all. Do not mention Fang Yuan. Just hearing his name makes me want to cough blood. When times produce no heroes, even a brat can become famous. Sight, his character is so terrible, yet he was chosen as the leader of the 10 rising stars. It makes me sick. The complaint immediately drew agreement from the others, including several Gu Yue Gu masters. Gu Yue Fang Yuan? What did he do this time? Someone asked curiously. He demanded my bare enslavement Gu and 700 primeval stones as payment for saving us. I have never seen such a shameless villain, someone so greedy that he forgets all righteousness. That is nothing. He has done worse. His heart is blacker than coal. He sells 1 vitality leaf for 80 primeval stones. He is exploiting people in desperate need, greedy and utterly shameless. He is arrogant beyond belief. A friend of mine wanted to join his team. Fang Yuan not only rejected him, but mocked him in front of everyone. What is he so proud of? He is only a C-grade talent. He is also a wastrel. He sold the entire inheritance his parents left him and used the money to buy a red steel relic Gu from a caravan. Then he stole another red steel relic Gu from Bai Ningbing. If I had 2 of those, I could reach his cultivation too. Lord Gu Yue King Shu was much better, modest, calm and gentle. What a pity he died so young. His younger brother Fang Zheng is the opposite. He has a strong sense of justice, a heroic heart, and King Shu's humility. Compared to his elder brother, they are worlds apart. Zhang Xiaoman had not expected one frustrated remark to provoke such an intense response from the Gu Yue clansmen. She was even more surprised that Fang Yuan had failed so completely in dealing with people, and was hated by so many. A strange thought occurred to her. If everyone dislikes him so much, why has no one taught him a lesson? The bamboo building became silent. The Gu Yue clansmen glanced at one another. No one answered. In truth, many people had disliked Fang Yuan's conduct and his relentless price increases. Many had gone to make trouble for him. Every one of them had suffered greatly. After enough examples, no one dared trouble Fang Yuan again. He had also been publicly recognized as the strongest newcomer among the 10 rising stars of this wolf tide. All status came from strength. Fang Yuan's combat power was overwhelming, so he stood at the top. It did not matter how terrible his reputation was or how disliked he remained. Fang Yuan again, Gu Yue murmured, lightly furrowing her brows. She had never met him, but she had heard his name many times. Her impression of him was already extremely poor. Although Fang Yuan is my senior, his actions are far too unreasonable, and his conduct goes beyond all limits. This time he even forced elder sister Jiaoman to hand over her bear enslavement Gu. He does not care about the alliance between our clans at all. No, I must tell grandmother and ask her to discipline him. Otherwise, the Gu Yue clan will lose face because of him. The more she considered it, the more convinced she became that punishing Fang Yuan was necessary for the clan. She naturally lacked the power to do so herself. But her grandmother, Medicine Hall elder Yue Yao Ji, certainly did. In Yao Le's eyes, her grandmother was nearly omnipotent. You want me to punish Fang Yuan? Yao Ji looked at her granddaughter in mild surprise. Then her expression suddenly tightened. My precious granddaughter, did he bully you? She asked at once. He did not bully me, but he bullied other people. This time it was elder sister Zhao Man of the Shong clan. He forced her to hand over a bear enslavement Gu and 700 primeval stones. It was too much. If this continues, he will throw away all the clan's dignity. Grandmother has heard about this. Yao Ji considered the matter for a moment. Go back for now, my good granddaughter. Grandmother will not disappoint you. Thank you, grandmother. You have no idea how awful that man is. He raises prices whenever he wants, bullies the weak, and commits every kind of evil. After the girl left, Yao Ji fell into thought. She had wanted to deal with Fang Yuan for some time. Her reasons, naturally, were not as innocent as Yao Le Fang. Yuan possessed interests worth seizing. First was the liquor worm. Yao Ji had once purchased one from a caravan, but that Gu had been given to Yao Le. She still needed another liquor worm as an ingredient to refine a rank 3 Gu worm. Then there was the 9-leaf vitality grass. Most of the clan's 9-leaf vitality grass was already under Yao Ji's control. By selling vitality leaves, she had reinforced her position, extended her influence, and maintained an extensive network of favors. Fang Yuan is far too arrogant. I tried to buy his liquor worm before, and he dared refuse me. Now he raises the price of vitality leaves as he pleases and takes excessive profits. Does he truly think this medicine hall elder is merely decoration? 2 enormous banners snapped loudly in the wind. One displayed the battle merit rankings. Fang Yuan currently stood among the top 10. The other listed the supplies that could be exchanged for battle merits. But at that moment, the many Gu masters crossing the square had gathered around a newly issued official notice. The notice stated that the wolf tide was growing fiercer, and casualties among the clan's Gu masters were rising. To strengthen the clan's healing capacity, Medicine Hall ordered every Gu master who owned a 9-leaf vitality grass to temporarily surrender it to the clan. Medicine Hall would assign personnel to produce vitality leaves in a unified manner. At the bottom of the notice was a list of every Gu master in the clan known to possess the Gu. Naturally, Fang Yuan's name appeared there. He stood in a distant corner, reading the notice with an unpleasant expression. One glance was enough for him to understand. Gu Yue Ji had made her move. Gu Yue Ji failed to buy my liquor worm, and never abandoned the idea. I had already accumulated enough battle merits to exchange for the 3-step fragrant grass Gu, but she secretly blocked the transaction. Now she covets my 9-leaf vitality grass as well. Still, Yao Ji's actions were understandable. Those in the same trade were natural enemies. By controlling the sale of vitality leaves, Yao Ji stabilized her authority, expanded her influence, and strengthened her network. Fang Yuan's secret sales and price increases had invisibly invaded her interests and weakened that influence. I already possess too many Gu worms: White Jade Gu, Moonglow Gu, Plunder Gu, Water Shield Gu, Earth Communication Eargrass, and more. The 9-leaf vitality grass is my most important source of income. Losing it would be like pulling the firewood from beneath my cooking pot. Yao Ji's move is truly vicious. He frowned. Around him, the discussions of other Gu masters entered his ears. This order from Medicine Hall is wonderful. There are far too few vitality leaves. They cannot meet our needs at all. Every batch that appears on the supply board is bought immediately. Elder Yao Ji is truly compassionate. Look at the list. There are Gu masters from both the Qi and Mo factions. By doing this, she must be offending many powerful elders. Lady Yao Ji cares only for the clan. She deserves our respect. Only Lady Yao Ji has the courage to make such a decision. Which other elder would dare? Hey look, the notice changed. The Gu masters from the Qi and Mo families have already surrendered their 9-leaf vitality grass. The crowd erupted with excitement. Concentrating all the 9-leaf vitality grass and organizing production under one authority meant more vitality leaves. For them, this was excellent news. Fang Yuan looked again. Sure enough, the words "already surrendered" had appeared beside several names. His own name now stood out even more. His mood became heavier. Gu Yue Ji had lived long enough to become a true old fox. Her political methods were deep and practiced. This move borrowed the force of public opinion and the larger situation to crush Fang Yuan. If he openly refused, he would invite serious trouble and hand his enemies a weapon to use against him. That would not be wise. This was the strength of the clan system. When the clan demanded sacrifice, it did not speak plainly. It wrapped the demand in glory, placed righteousness around it, and forced the victim into obedience. It had done the same when recalling retired Gu masters. The clan ordered them to sacrifice their lives. Did they dare refuse? Now, by collecting 9-leaf vitality grass, the clan demanded that Fang Yuan and others sacrifice their interests to satisfy everyone. In truth, it primarily benefited Yao Ji. Anyone who resisted would be branded an enemy of the clan, someone who separated himself from the people, a traitor, a reactionary. I must settle this quickly. The longer it continues, the less room I will have for small schemes, and the more passive my position will become. Her move is backed by righteousness and popular support. Any minor plot would be crushed beneath it. Only a greater force can oppose it. I must strike openly, defeat her position from the front, and use overwhelming legitimacy of my own. Fang Yuan already had a plan to solve the problem at its root. The solution was simple and direct: advance to rank 3. The positions of rank 2 and rank 3 Gu masters were entirely different. Within the clan, anyone who reached rank 3 was immediately promoted to clan elder and admitted into the upper circle. Even the clan leader could not casually violate an elder's interests. The Qi and Mo faction Gu masters named on the notice appeared to have obediently surrendered their 9-leaf vitality grass, as though each had willingly sacrificed personal benefit. In reality, Yao Ji had already negotiated compensation in secret with elders such as Gu Yue Qi Lian and Gu Yue Mo Chen. This was a political transaction. Most people could not see the truth behind the curtain, so they were deceived by Yao Ji's display. If Fang Yuan were already rank 3, even if he surrendered the 9-leaf vitality grass, he would receive sufficient compensation elsewhere. Why was Yao Ji in such a hurry to act against him? First, profit. Fang Yuan's actions had damaged her interests, and several of the Gu worms in his possession were things she desired. Second, Fang Yuan had already reached rank 2 peak stage. If she did not move now, once he advanced to rank 3 and became an elder, she would lose the opportunity. Advancing to rank 3 is necessary. To the clan, a rank 2 Gu master can be sacrificed, but rank 3 Gu masters are pillars. Losing even one is a major blow. Besides, I already have many problems. Qingshu died, yet the clan did not investigate deeply. I still hold the Water Shield Gu, Plunder Gu, and others, but the clan has chosen to look away. My cultivation has advanced with astonishing speed. The upper ranks have seen it all, yet they have endured and have not searched for my secrets. Fang Yuan understood his current position clearly. On the surface, he appeared powerful and famous. In reality, danger surrounded him from every direction. The clan had not targeted him only because the wolf tide consumed all its attention. If they failed to resist the wolves, the clan would be destroyed. Under that pressure, Fang Yuan's matters were insignificant. But once the wolf tide ended and the upper ranks regained leisure, how could they resist settling old accounts with him? Back at the academy, the elders had ignored Fang Yuan because he was too small. His disturbances were merely the noise of a child and did not touch their interests. Now everything was different. Fang Yuan was already ranked 2 peak stage. One more step would make him a clan elder. That cultivation alone had touched the nerves of the existing elders. Every move he made would be watched and remembered. Any new elder would alter the political structure of the entire Gu Yue clan. Those who wanted to recruit Fang Yuan or suppress him would appear one after another. Even the neutral faction was still a faction. No one would tolerate Fang Yuan remaining as he was now free and standing outside the clan's political structure. If I advance to rank 3, recruitment and suppression will continue, but I will have far more room to maneuver. Rank 3 is a qualitative change, a threshold. Once I cross it, I will stand in a different world. With rank 3 cultivation, I can advance or retreat as I please. At worst, I can leave the clan. But reaching rank 3 was not easy. For a C-grade talent such as Fang Yuan, it was almost an impossible barrier. In his previous life, he had remained trapped at rank 2 peak stage for more than 100 years. Only after paying a terrible price and obtaining a Gu that raised aptitude had he finally crossed the threshold. In Gu cultivation, minor stages were comparatively easy. With enough time and persistence, they could be overcome. Every major rank, however, was a true barrier. The higher the rank, the more terrifying the difficulty became. The leap from rank 5 to rank 6 was especially absurd, harder than ascending to heaven. Fang Yuan's advance from rank 1 to rank 2 had already been extremely difficult. Now, if he tried to move from rank 2 to rank 3 through ordinary means, he had virtually no chance of success. Fortunately, Fang Yuan possessed 500 years of life experience. Among the countless memories he carried were 2 or 3 alternative methods. To speak politely, they were unconventional paths. To speak plainly, they were crooked shortcuts. Fang Yuan chose the one most suitable for his present circumstances. To advance to rank 3, he needed to refine a strange and bloody Gu worm, known as the Man-Beast Life Burial Gu. The Gu had been invented with great effort by an ancient demonic cult leader who wanted to raise the cultivation of his subordinates. It was designed specifically to help rank 2 Gu masters break through to rank 3. In his previous life, Fang Yuan had searched through many secrets and happened to obtain this refinement recipe. It had left a deep impression, and he remembered it clearly. Most importantly, the refinement materials were not especially rare. Under ordinary circumstances, with Fang Yuan's resources, gathering them would have required 2 or 3 years. But the wolf tide had created countless opportunities. Over the past several days, he had already gathered almost enough primeval stones and Gu worms. Only one final ingredient remained. For that, he needed the right opportunity. Everyone, come look. Medicine Hall has issued another notice. Are they collecting the 9-leaf vitality grass and organizing vitality leaf production? This really is good news. Inside the bamboo building, a group of Gu masters crowded around the notice with pleased expressions. Ha ha ha! Fang Yuan must be ready to cry now. That will teach him to sell vitality leaves however he pleases and squeeze away our hard-earned primeval stones. I would love to see his face right now. It must be hideous. Dozens of people delighted openly in Fang Yuan's misfortune. Ha ha ha, this is truly satisfying. But we should thank Miss Yao Le. Without her persuading Lady Yao Ji, none of this would have happened. That is right. We really must thank Miss Yao Le. Miss Yao Le is not only beautiful, but kind-hearted as well. She upholds justice and fairness for us. She truly has Lady Yao Ji's bearing. Praise sounded without end around Gu Yue Le. She lowered her head in embarrassment, though her heart was filled with happiness. Little sister Yao Le. At that moment, Xianxia Man entered the bamboo building. I came to say farewell. I saw Medicine Hall's notice as well. Thank you for helping me vent my anger. People like Fang Yuan are rotten grains in the rice pot. They must be punished. Elder sister Jiao Man, you are leaving already? Yao Le asked with concern. Zhang Jiao Man rested one hand on her hip and pointed her thumb toward a group of Gu masters waiting outside. I have secured reinforcements. We need to return quickly. We will meet again. Sadness immediately rose in Yao Le's heart. When Shijiao Man had set out, her team had numbered 10. Only 7 had reached Gu Yue village. The Gu masters standing outside were about to enter that cruel battlefield as well. How many would return safely? Yao Le watched Xianxia Man's group leave through the village gate and disappear into the distance. The farewell was extremely short. Only 15 minutes later, they returned to the bamboo building. We ran into trouble. The wolf tide cut us off, Xianxia Man explained with a bitter smile. The Gu masters inside immediately grew tense. Xianxia Man's group was numerous and strong, yet even they had been forced back. The wolf pack approaching the village could not be small. Everyone, prepare yourselves. The lightning wolves will attack the village very soon, Xianxia Man said. The moment she finished, warning bells rang throughout the settlement. For an instant, the entire village became silent. Then it exploded into motion. That alarm! A large wolf pack is attacking. Move! Move! Gather every team! A major battle is coming! Damn it! I only just returned. I wanted to sleep. Some Gu masters cursed. Others pressed their lips together in grim silence. In moments, figures raced across rooftops and along the streets toward the 4 gates and the outer walls. Wide wooden ladders had been erected at intervals along the inside of the wall, allowing Gu masters to climb quickly. Every watchtower stood higher than the wall itself, like a powerful guardian warrior. Fang Yuan merged into the crowd and reached the base of the defenses. A Gu master had just started climbing when Fang Yuan grabbed him with one hand and pulled him down. You damned! The man turned to curse, saw Fang Yuan, and immediately shut his mouth. Fang Yuan climbed the ladder, activated the white jade Gu, and raised his head above the wall. The forests and mountains beyond the village were covered in lightning wolves. There were thousands. Wherever he looked, countless green wolf eyes glowed in the darkness of the trees, sending a chill through the heart. Most of the wolves were starving. Some had become so thin that their ribs were clearly visible. Their sheer numbers had created a disaster. The wild beasts around them had either fled or been eaten. Food for the lightning wolves had become increasingly scarce. A village packed with human beings was an irresistible temptation. Wolves were patient animals. Starving wolves were even more frightening, dangerous, and insane. Lightning wolves that had eaten their fill would not attack a fortified village. But these wolves were desperate. Bold lightning wolves could also be seen among the ordinary beasts. Even hidden inside the packs, they stood out clearly. Their bodies were as large as calves. There were more than 30 of them. Many Gu masters drew a sharp breath at the sight. This was only the second time Gu Yue village had been surrounded by wolves that year. Yet the attacking force was more than twice the size of the first. Every bold lightning wolf was as powerful and well-fed as a bull, at the peak of its condition. Ordinary lightning wolves went hungry. As 100-beast kings, however, bold lightning wolves naturally received enough food. Resources were always supplied to the upper ranks of an organization first. Those below were exploited. Their interests were sacrificed so that resources could be concentrated on those above. Human society and wild beast packs were no different in that respect. But these bold lightning wolves are not the real threat. Fang Yuan moved his gaze and searched without pause. Soon he found 3 enormous figures standing in the darkness beneath the trees at the rear of the wolf tide. 1,000 beast kings, frenzy lightning wolves. Each one was as massive as an elephant. Fang Yuan's pupils contracted slightly, then returned to normal. He continued observing. More bold lightning wolf packs were gathering from every direction. There was no sign of a Thunder Crown wolf. Fang Yuan quietly relaxed. Without a Thunder Crown wolf, the village remained relatively safe. In his memories, the Thunder Crown wolf had appeared at the end of August and inflicted devastating losses on the Gu Yue clan. Had the clan leader and elders not joined forces and fought with their lives, and had Gu Yue Qingshu not sacrificed himself to unleash all his strength, Gu Yue village would have been destroyed. Since his rebirth, Fang Yuan had changed many things. Qingshu had already died much earlier than before. Fang Yuan could not afford to be careless. It was entirely possible for the Thunder Crown Wolf to appear ahead of schedule. That was why he had rushed here to inspect the battlefield. Awoo! The 3 frenzy lightning wolves raised their heads and howled together. At their command, countless lightning wolves charged directly toward the village. The Gu masters had long since prepared themselves. Rank 1 Gu masters stood beneath the wall, both hands pressed against the cold stone. Rank 2 Gu masters climbed ladders or gathered on top of the towers. Behind them, Gu masters occupied buildings that had been converted into temporary fortresses. Some formed reserve teams. Others were healers from Medicine Hall. Scouting Gu masters moved constantly, carrying reports from the battlefield to the rear. Several clan elders remained behind the lines, while others had climbed the watchtowers. For the moment, they watched with folded arms, preserving their strength and keeping the situation under control. They are coming. Fang Yuan stood on the ladder, cold light flashing in his eyes. Lightning wolves spread across the mountain and surged toward the village like a flood. They fell into trenches and traps dug outside the walls. Sharpened green bamboo stakes pierced their bodies as though dumplings had been dropped into a boiling pot. Some died instantly. Others remained alive and howled in agony. The wind carried the smell of blood over the walls, while wolf cries filled every ear. The attack did not stop. The blood seemed only to excite the wolves, making their assault even more frenzied. One lightning wolf after another fell into the traps, using its own life to create a path for those behind. Later, wolves trampled across the corpses of their companions and reached the walls. Heavy thuds sounded without pause. A single lightning wolf was no more than an ant trying to shake a tree. But when an entire pack struck again and again, even the reinforced wall began to tremble. The rank 1 Gu masters below the wall suppressed their fear and poured primeval essence desperately into the iron vine Gu and poison flower Gu. Thorny vines outside the wall stabbed into the wolves. The poison flower Gu released toxins through the plants, corroding the beasts' bodies. The lightning wolves clawed and bit the wall madly. As their injuries worsened, their movements gradually slowed. Whoosh! Whoosh! Rank 2 Gu masters on the ladders and watchtowers released moonblades together. The blades flew into the packs. Blood sprayed through the air, and severed wolf legs tumbled across the ground. Then the bold lightning wolves joined the battle. Gu masters immediately began to die. Fang Yuan stood in a relatively isolated corner. A thin blue current shot toward the wall and pierced straight through it, killing an unlucky rank 1 Gu master on the spot. The bold lightning wolf responsible immediately became the focus of attention. Countless moonblades flew toward it. It dodged left and right, using the ordinary wolves around it as shields and suffered only a few light wounds. Roar! It opened its jaws. Electric sparks flashed between its sharp fangs, gathered into a current, and tore through the air toward Fang Yuan, water shield Gu. Fang Yuan gave a cold snort. 2 streams of pale blue vapor emerged from his nostrils. The mist expanded into a sphere of water that surrounded him. The lightning current struck the shield. The sphere shook violently and nearly collapsed. Moonglow Gu. Fang Yuan withdrew the water shield voluntarily. His hand moved like a flashing butterfly, and 3 moonblades screamed through the air. Each approached from a carefully chosen angle. The bold lightning wolf avoided the first, but the second struck its front right leg and interrupted its movement. The third followed immediately, carving a deep wound across its head and destroying its left eye. It howled in pain. The other Gu masters saw the opportunity and sent a dense storm of moonblades down upon it. Whoosh! 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 The bold lightning wolf was sliced apart in an instant. Blood covered its body, and wounds opened all the way to the bone. It staggered several times before collapsing. The surrounding pack fell briefly into confusion, like waves disturbed by a sudden storm. But the 3 frenzy lightning wolves still guarded the rear. The disorder lasted only a moment before the wolves bared their fangs and resumed the attack. Fang Yuan released several more moonblades and climbed down the ladder. In that short exchange, more than half his primeval essence had been consumed. He needed to recover. The moment he descended, another rank 2 Gu master stepped forward and took his place. Gu masters with long-range offensive methods occupied the ladders and the highest levels of the watchtowers. Their primary targets were the bold lightning wolves, which posed a far greater threat than ordinary lightning wolves. Some bold lightning wolves even carried jumping-type Gu worms. With their assistance, they could leap directly into the village. Fang Yuan left the ladder and moved toward the rear. People flowed around him in both directions. Many were like him, their primeval essence nearly exhausted, returning to rest and recover. Other Gu masters took their places and headed toward the battlefield, offering their own strength to the clan. This was true war. Even the power of a rank 2 peak stage Gu master seemed small. Only rank 3 Gu masters could serve as reliable pillars capable of suppressing the battlefield. Fang Yuan entered a bamboo building that had been heavily reinforced and converted for military use. Many Gu masters already sat cross-legged inside, each holding primeval stones and recovering as quickly as possible. Healing Gu masters moved through the crowd. Some knelt beside the wounded, bandaging injuries with medical chests placed close at hand. Fang Yuan found a corner and sat down. A female healing Gu master immediately approached. He shook his head. Understanding, she turned and moved toward another injured Gu master. The rotation continued until dusk. By then, Fang Yuan had entered the battle 5 times, yet the lightning wolves had not diminished. More packs continued to arrive, drawn by the howls of the frenzy lightning wolves. It seems this attack will continue into the night, a clan elder said as he gazed beyond the village with worry. Once darkness fell, the Gu master's vision would weaken. The lightning wolves, however, saw perfectly well at night. This is only the 2nd attack on the village this year, yet it is already this intense. The situation is far from promising, another elder sighed. Yue Yao Ji's expression was equally dark. As the medicine hall elder responsible for directing the healers, casualty reports reached her before almost anyone else. The day's losses had been recorded on a thin bamboo sheet. It weighed almost nothing, yet in Yao Ji's hand it felt unbearably heavy. The number of dead and wounded was far greater than during the same period in previous wolf tides. She understood that the clan's Gu masters had not become weaker. There were simply too many wolves this year, and they were far more vicious. How many 9-leaf vitality grass Gu have been surrendered? Yao Ji asked, watching the blood-red evening sun sink toward the west. Her subordinate immediately reported that 3 people had still not complied. Fang Yuan was one of them. Yao Ji gave a cold snort. Where is Yao Le? Miss Yao Le is near the eastern gate directing a healing team. This subordinate advised her several times to withdraw, but she insisted on remaining at the front. The man knelt fearfully as he spoke. Yao Ji considered the matter for a moment, nodded faintly, and waved him away. A clan elder guarded the area near her granddaughter, while Xianxia Man's group was fighting on that section of the wall. It was one of the safest places along the front line. Yao Ji doted on Yao Le, but she also approved of the girl's courage. Those in power had considerations unique to those in power. Experiences like this would become political capital when Yao Le inherited the Yao family's influence in the future. A golden moon hung high in the sky while clusters of clouds drifted beneath its broad light. For Gu masters, a bright moon was excellent news. Outside the village, the battlefield had become a scene of slaughter. Wolf corpses filled the traps until they stood nearly halfway up the walls. giving later waves of lightning wolves a platform from which to leap. Some ordinary lightning wolves could already jump and claw their way over the top. The height difference usually left them unsteady when they landed inside the village, and groups of waiting Gu masters immediately killed them. Fang Yuan stood at the top of a watchtower. Several Gu masters around him continuously launched moonblades and other attacks into the wolf packs. Across the battlefield, these towers served as the main points of firepower. Gu masters worked together from above and killed large numbers of bold lightning wolves. Kill! Kill! Kill every last wolf cub. Nah, I will avenge you. Hold on, just a little longer. The safety of the clan rests on us. Noise and chaos surrounded Fang Yuan. Some people had gone mad, some fought through grief and hatred. Others shouted slogans to keep themselves moving. Fang Yuan stood coldly among them, releasing moonblades from time to time while observing the battlefield. The moon was bright, but visibility still could not compare with daylight. The three frenzy lightning wolves remained at the rear, unmoving, their figures barely visible in the darkness beneath the trees. As long as they remained, all the other lightning wolves were merely cannon fodder. Even the bold lightning wolves were no more than higher-grade sacrifices. Then, without warning, one frenzy lightning wolf slowly stepped forward. It opened its enormous jaws and spat out a sphere of lightning. Rank 3 explosive lightning Gu. The ball was only the size of a millstone, but its entire surface glowed deep blue. A vast amount of electricity had been compressed inside it, and it moved with terrifying speed. Almost the moment it appeared, it struck the watchtower beneath Fang Yuan's feet. Until now, the battle had remained in a stalemate. Many Gu masters had become numb, fighting through exhaustion without thought. When the lightning sphere arrived, most of them could not react in time. Water Shield Gu, White Jade Gu. Fang Yuan had barely activated both defenses when his vision turned completely white. Boom! The thunderous explosion nearly ruptured his eardrums. An invisible force struck him and hurled him through the air. Amid the murderous lightning, the water sphere lasted only 2 breaths before collapsing. The remaining current struck Fang Yuan directly. Even with the white jade Gu protecting him, electricity spread through his body and left every muscle numb. Thud. He fell 3 or 4 meters and struck the ground hard. Unlike the rainbow garment Gu, the white jade Gu could not reduce impact force. Pain burned across his back. Fang Yuan immediately forced himself upright. His eyes blinked uncontrollably, tears streaming down his face. Only after 3 breaths did his sight begin to return. Half of the thick stone watchtower had vanished. Charred fragments of corpses lay scattered across the ground. A huge breach had also been blasted through the wall, and lightning wolves were pouring through it like floodwater. The frenzy lightning wolf had finally entered the battle. The power of a 1,000-beast king was on an entirely different level. The Gu masters who had been standing beside Fang Yuan in the tower had been blown apart. He alone had survived. Inside his aperture, the jellyfish-like water shield Gu looked extremely weak and dispirited. If its shield were shattered repeatedly, the Gu itself would eventually be unable to endure the damage and die. The white jade Gu was the same. Gu worms were both powerful and fragile. The explosive lightning Gu, for example, produced lightning spheres of astonishing power and speed, making them extremely difficult to resist. But it had a weakness. It could not fire continuously. Several breaths were required before it could create another sphere. Boom! Fang Yuan had only just regained his footing when a second lightning sphere came flying toward him. That Wolf King has 2 explosive lightning Gu living on it. His expression changed and he dodged at once. He avoided using the water shield Gu and relied only on the white jade Gu for defense. Beast, do not run wild. At the crucial moment, a figure appeared in midair, golden light radiating from his entire body. He blocked the lightning sphere head-on. A clan elder had entered the battle, but one elder was not enough. Soon, 2 more came forward and fought beside him. To hunt a frenzy lightning wolf normally required at least 3 well-coordinated Gu master teams. If only rank 3 Gu masters were used, at least 3 elders were still necessary to hold one back. The frenzy lightning wolf strode forward on powerful legs. Wherever it went, the other wolves moved aside. At first, it ran slowly. Then its speed increased, its head lowered, and it charged straight into the village wall. The rank 1 and rank 2 Gu masters fled in terror. Only the 3 elders remained. Everyone nearby cleared the area without needing to be told, leaving the battlefield to them. The 3 clan elders began a fierce battle with the frenzy lightning wolf. Not long afterward, the other 2 frenzy lightning wolves attacked the village as well, opening 2 more battle zones. 9 clan elders and 3 frenzy lightning wolves created 3 separate centers of destruction. Lightning exploded. Bamboo buildings collapsed. Gu masters and lightning wolves caught between them usually met miserable ends. The wolf packs continued entering the village, but Fang Yuan did not join the fighting. He stood in a distant corner and observed the 3 battlefields. Without question, The attack had reached its most violent stage. One frenzy lightning wolf carries 2 explosive lightning Gu, giving it exceptional offensive power. Another possesses a thunder wing Gu and can fly short distances, making it extremely agile. The last has a thunder roar Gu and kills through sound waves. Most Thousand Beast Kings carried 3 or 4 wild rank 2 or rank 3 Gu worms. Once the Gu masters identified those abilities, they could respond with the correct methods. After being specifically countered, Frenzy Lightning Wolves lacked the intelligence to change their approach. Their attacks were simple and repetitive. At that point, the outcome was largely decided. Sure enough, after a short while, several elders retreated and others took their places. Through rotation and coordination, the Gu masters quickly gained the tactical advantage. After another fierce exchange, they brought the situation under control. Victory had become only a matter of time. The larger battle is settled. Yao Ji had just released a breath of relief when a deafening roar came from the eastern gate. A lightning wolf's body began swelling rapidly. From the size of an ordinary wolf, it expanded as though being filled with air until it stood as large as an elephant. There is another frenzy lightning wolf. Many elders stammered in shock. Their attention had been drawn entirely toward the 3 existing battlefields. The village's defensive arrangement had also concentrated manpower around those areas, leaving the eastern gate comparatively weak. No! Yao Le is there! The color drained from Yao Ji's old face. She shot toward the eastern gate at full speed. So there was another variable. Fang Yuan watched closely. That frenzy lightning wolf must possess a rank 3 breath Ultimate Gu. It disguised itself as an ordinary lightning wolf and hid among the pack, deceiving the Gu masters at the eastern gate. The situation there was extremely dangerous. The frenzy lightning wolf appeared without warning and smashed directly through the gate, leaving an enormous hole. Countless ordinary lightning wolves followed several bold lightning wolves through the breach, howling madly as they flooded into the village. Gu Yue saw the wolves rushing toward her like a tide and froze in terror. Fortunately, Zhongjiao Man stood nearby. At the critical moment, the experienced team leader took control without hesitation. Quickly, shut the doors! We can only defend this position and wait for reinforcements. That is our only path to survival. The moment she gave the order, a tremendous crash sounded. The frenzy lightning wolf struck the top of the bamboo building and brought it down. Yao Le screamed. The sudden disaster threw the girl into complete panic. She was still too young and had only rank 1 cultivation. She had insisted on remaining here because she believed the area was safe. She had never imagined that true danger would reach her. Beast! Stop! Yao Ji raced toward them, screaming at the top of her lungs. She could only watch as the frenzy lightning wolf rammed the bamboo building. Her beloved granddaughter was in danger, yet Yao Ji was still too far away to help. At the critical moment, Zhongjiao Man stepped forward again. With a thought, she commanded her remaining brown bear to roar and charge the frenzy lightning wolf. The Wolf King swept out with its right forelimb. The bear, weighing more than 400 kilograms, was sent flying. The frenzy lightning wolf opened its jaws and crushed the bear's skull in one bite. How could an ordinary beast challenge the strength of a Thousand Beast King? But that brief delay gave Zhongjiao Man enough time to seize Yao Le and drag her away, opening a small distance between them and the wolf. The frenzy lightning wolf roared. It had no intention of letting desirable prey escape. It leaped more than 10 meters and landed directly in front of Zhongjiao Man. The sight of the enormous beast appearing before her made Yao Le's legs go weak. Zhongjiao Man could no longer move forward while pulling the girl. She could only retreat quickly toward the outside of the village. The frenzy lightning wolf prepared to pounce. At that moment, Yao Ji finally arrived. A pale purple moonblade struck the wolf's back, transformed into a cloud of mist and entered its nostrils. The frenzy lightning wolf coughed twice. It had been poisoned. This was the rank 3 poison moon Gu. Enraged, the frenzy lightning wolf raised its head and roared. The sound spread violently in every direction, rolling outward as an invisible force. This was not a thunder roar Gu, which primarily intimidated enemies. It was a sound wave Gu. The sound vibrated the air and created a physical force that pushed everything away. Zhongjiao Man and Yao Le were both hurled backward. They separated in midair. Zhongjiao Man struck a bamboo building and stopped moving. Yao Le flew through the breach in the eastern gate and landed outside the village. The impact left her dizzy. As she struggled to stand, she saw a lightning wolf opening its blood-stained jaws directly in front of her. Ah! She screamed in terror. At that desperate moment, a moonblade flew past and killed the wolf. Yao Le scrambled to her feet and saw her savior. He was a young male Gu master whose lower body had been buried beneath a collapsed wall. He smiled at her through a face covered in blood and torn flesh. A moment later, a mass of lightning wolves reached him and tore out his throat. Tears instantly filled Yao Le's eyes. She cried as she ran. The battlefield was complete chaos. Because of her background, Gu masters occasionally risked themselves to help her, but they could barely preserve their own lives and could not lead her out of danger. Yao Ji remained entangled with the frenzy lightning wolf and had no way to reach her. Yao Lei's mind became completely blank. Everywhere she looked, she saw only the claws and fangs of lightning wolves. Amid the confusion, a voice suddenly reached her. Step backward. She obeyed without thinking. A lightning wolf lunged past the space where she had stood. Roll to the right, the voice ordered. Yao Lei's consciousness remained dazed, but her body followed. A wolf's jaws snapped shut a hair's breadth from her. The voice continued giving instructions. The girl carried them out carefully. Whenever she made a mistake, a moonblade would fly from an unknown direction and rescue her. At last, no lightning wolves remained around her. Only then did Yao Lei realize that she was safe. But without noticing when it had happened, she had moved far from the village and now stood in an isolated part of the mountain forest. A figure emerged before her. Her eyes widened. Gu Yue Fang Yuan, were you the one who helped me? No. Fang Yuan's lips curved into a smile, revealing a faint trace of sinister intent. I was only helping myself.